Hi, I'm Dr. Hisham, and in this video series, I would like to speak with you about holistic health. What does that mean from my perspective? What does it mean for us as a collective? And where are we going with all this growth of our knowledge and understanding and awareness of the need that we have to ascend to a higher level of communication, of creating healing methods and healing products and healing thoughts and healing foods, rather than descending, as we have been over the last few generations, into this state where we're conditioned to accept what's given to us, what's told to us by so many corporations and entities that have no vested interest in human beings, actually, other than seeing them as sources of profit. How do we ascend back into creating our own ways of healing, from our mind health, mental health, to our body health, to collective health, so that we can all become heroes in our journeys to ourselves, to our kids, to our environment that we have, as you all know by now, we have really not been nice to. And of course, what's happening is it's not being nice to us back. So it's time for us to look at ourselves as truly who we are and what we are, which is an ecosystem, a collective, as well as individuals. We're an ecosystem living within an ecosystem. So how do we look and care for all of this better so that we can become better and overcome, basically transcend this ever increasing state of chronic diseases, degenerative diseases, breakdowns, environmental breakdowns, individual breakdowns, collective breakdowns that are happening within societies? How do we transcend all that? By ascending to a higher level of awareness and acceptance of each other, working together, like I said, and not being victimized by authorities or corporates or any individual who keeps telling us how to live our lives and what to feed our children and what to put in our mouths and what to put in our bodies and what to put in our minds and in our hearts, to our own detriment. So let's go back to the beginning. How do I define holistic health? Holistic means whole, means wholesome, means one unit, looking at everything as one unit. Everything is within the sphere of energy, energetic sphere basically of existence, where everything that's within it is affecting each other constantly. In this entangled quantum field, everything that changes something else, because everything happens simultaneously. So looking at our existence and our bodies and our minds as one thing, that's actually what they are. One thing that has multiple parts in it. Any part that changes will shift another part. Whether it's to the positive or to the negative, that's another question. The main thing that we need to understand is everything acts as one, exists as one, as a whole feedback, a wholesome feedback loop that feeds itself. So every part affects the other. I'll draw this in a diagram later on, and I'll show you what I mean by that more visually, because we understand things more when we see them. And how do I define health? Health is a dynamic state of bringing back balance. So it's about the dynamic ability of a human body, human mind, an ecosystem, an environmental ecosystem, to bring back the balance constantly. So it's not a state of absence of disease or nothing going wrong or nothing breaking down. These are natural processes that coexist with what we consider health or being at ease or being in flow at the same time. But the ability to overshadow those dis-ease states, those bad negative states, with something that's more positive, more light that overshadows the darkness, while the darkness always exists, is what is considered health. A healthy body is constantly balancing back. It is not balanced, it is not in a static state. So even homeostasis, the word, is not really correct in terms of defining a flowing state as static. Is not really what I would like to define it as, because it's a dynamic state. So dynamically, we're creating ways, methods, thoughts, molecules, chemicals, biosignals, etc., to so-called maintain homeostasis, maintain that balanced state by balancing back. So when do things go wrong? When we lose that ability to balance back, to biobalance basically, then the disease takes over. Whether it's acute or chronic or lifelong, and all these diseases are increasing in number these days on a global scale, that tells us that we need to up the stakes in terms of our awareness and understanding of what is going on. How come we are losing that ability to balance back? How can we bring it more into a balancing state? How can we feed our bodies, feed our minds, feed our environment, feed our ecosystem, feed our microbiome the right material to create new states of balance, better states of healing, and more energy flow that overcomes and overshadows any states of dis-ease that are naturally, like I said, happening anyway in the background. We need to overshadow them with states of ease. So where does holistic health start from, or start through, actually, to be more specific? It starts through our minds and our mouths. These are the two portals to the human being, to the human wellness. So wholesome body health starts through the mouth, and wholesome human existence and manifestation starts through the mind. These are the portals through which everything goes in and actually comes out and expresses through as well. So we need to really nail these two subjects down and understand the interactions between different parts within the same system, within the same coherent holistic system. The interaction between different parts of that system are still mostly controlled, mostly influenced by what we can focus on changing, improving, modifying, and all that through the portals, what we put in and out, what goes into and through those two portals, the mind and mouth. So wholesome human health starts through the mouth. Wholesome human existence starts through the mind, the portals to human existence. So in the next few videos, I'll be focusing on the mouth, the human mouth as the portal, like I said, to wholesome health in the rest of the human body. Not that there is a separation between the two, not that there is a connection either, which is what I find funny very often these days. You keep reading more and more science about the connection between the mouth and the body and systemic health, the connection between gut and brain, the microbiome connection. Well, when were they disconnected that now we're connecting them? Maybe in our awareness, in our knowledge, in our written evidence, we're connecting dots. That's fine. But these things that we talk about as separate, that now we're connecting, they were never disconnected. It was always and has always been and will always be a continuum. So there's mouth-body continuum. There is mind-mouth, gut, wholesome health, everything continuum. Everything's in a continuous feedback loop existing as one energetic sphere, like I said at the beginning. What has given me the courage and the clarity of intent to create this video series right now versus a few years back, even though a lot of these ideas have been going through my mind for many years, are two things. One, experiential learning that I've gone through with myself and my family, and of course with the patients who've been treating for the last 20 years, and observing how things progress or regress over time, and what we're learning more, what we're finding out more in the science and the awareness and all these things that have come together experientially, not just by studying them, but actually by experiencing them. That's one thing. The other thing is that obvious collective surge in awareness and demand by the generations that are now parents. So generation XY, my generation, who are all parents, so we have our own children, as well as we're caring for our elderly parents, the baby boomers, and seeing what's happening in our lives and how more of us are getting sicker and sicker, and going, what's happening with our children who are getting more allergic and sicker and all these things, and what world are we leaving for them, and looking at our parents and how the degenerative diseases are taking over that generation so quickly that it's actually quite scary compared to 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and well, obviously historically was a lot of those diseases did not even exist. People died of old age or of infections, but not these kind of degenerative diseases that are increasing across all spans of generations in life. And of course, the other generation that is coming out in mass and demanding change and demanding better are the millennials. So my daughter is technically at the end of the millennial group, but millennials and below are now demanding and expecting that everything is done better from here onwards, because this is their world that they're going to be inheriting, and it's not really very impressive what we're leaving behind for them. When I talk about holistic healing as a person who needs healing myself, as well as a person who sees themselves as a healer to others and my duty as a healer is to understand more, learn more, so I can bring out more healing for others to serve humanity. One of the main things that I want to change is that view, the perspective, the glasses basically, that we look at the world through in medicine and in pharmacology and in products out there that are supposed to be good for you or healthy for you, and so on and so forth. Change the perspective from fighting one disease at a time, fighting a disease, fighting any disease, fighting bacteria, fighting. That act of fighting, that act of the intention of going out to kill, to dissociate one symptom or one item or one distinguishable disease from the rest of the wholesome being of the person or the group or the society, to kill, attack, negate, that paradigm itself is what needs to shift. That's what needs to change. We need to look at everything more holistically. Instead of fighting, we need to be striving towards something. Instead of killing, we need to be balancing. Instead of bringing down the immune system, we need to be bringing up and modulating the immune system correctly, as it knows how to do. We just have to bring it back to that balancing state, allow it to balance back, like I said at the beginning, rather than kill the immune system, kill the cells, kill that, kill, fight, not good. We need to ascend, to transcend that with our thinking, and we need to go into a state where we're bringing on healing by seeking health, seeking what brings back that balance and bringing that into our reality as a wholesome system. And that's what I define as, let's seek health rather than fight disease. So not fight, kill, and if you win against one disease, then you're healthy, you're done. Well, what about everything else that's going on in my life? It's not working. It hasn't worked. It can't work for long-term well-being of humans in society. From mental health to body health to environmental health to any kind of health, we need to stop fighting against individual baddies and transcend that towards seeking collective wholeness, collective well-being. What to avoid? Yes, we need to understand that, but also what to put in, what combinations, what unifying energy fields can we bring together into our world, into our reality, into our bodies, into our spheres that can cause more healing, more flow, less inflammation. What, for example, the products that we make as oral care products, what is the intent behind making something that's physiological, that's in harmony with the human body and how the human body works, and enhancing these functional flow agencies of healing within the human body, versus just making something that will fight one disease or the other, or the other, or the other. Well, which disease is the flavor of the day? And how about all of them actually getting worse and worse and worse, like oral diseases are just getting worse and worse, tooth decay, gum disease, bad breath, oral cancer, burning mouth syndrome, dry mouth syndrome, all of these oral disorders are all getting worse and worse and worse, collectively, all around the world. What are we doing that hasn't been working? Well, obviously, most things have not been put together in a way to bring on health. We're still trying to fight one disease at a time while adding toxins and nasties to other parts of the human body, causing irritation, causing reactions, causing inflammation. And now I invite you to join me on this journey, starting with video number 2 and moving forward, so that we can all feel better, look better, and be better together. Thank you.